Hello everyone, it's Brian here in Toronto, and today I am doing a video in response to a contest, but I'm not going to enter the contest, and the reason for that is I recently won a contest from John, run by John, the 6-inch pianist. I got an excellent prize. So Craig, please don't enter me into the draw. I guess with me stepping back, that increases everyone's odds, so that's cool. So this is for Craig at the Spirit of Vinyl, and he's approaching 300 subscribers. His birthday's upcoming, so this is a contest to mark both of those events. So we are to spell January using the first letter of song titles, band names, album titles, whatever you like, and then to show a record that references somehow or features the number 6 to round out January 6, which is a birthday, which is Craig's birthday as I understand it. So here we go. I think I can remember how to spell, and I'll start with this one. This is Matt Johnson, Burning Blue Soul, his first full-length release from 1981. But if you have the 1981 pressing, you're going to recognize right away that this cover is different. This is the Canadian 1983 pressing, which has a different cover. And to make matters even more confusing, in 1993, this was re-released on compact disc under the Burning Blue Soul, which of course is Matt Johnson's band. Well, band is a funny word to use because early on it was just him doing all the instruments, and later he had a band. So in other words, it was rebranded from Matt Johnson to the to match his later releases. Weirdly, we have Burning Blue Soul, and the first the record was Soul Mining, which is interesting. Anyway, let's go back to this record. This is from 1981, or 1983 in this case. His first full length. It has shades of what would become the, so you can certainly see where he's going with this. It's a pretty good record. I don't listen to it that often. I prefer the, Soul Mining onwards, but it's quite interesting. It has, of course, Another Boy Drowning. What's the other title? Red Cinders in the Sand. By the way, there's a nice little retrospective on the first record after only 2 years, written by this guy called Ian Pye. So I guess we can see where the is going. He does most of the instruments on here, apart from a couple of notes. There's a couple notes here of what he doesn't do, but he does everything else on this record. And I think they rebranded it as the because that became his real moniker, and also because he wanted all his records to be in the same bin in the record stores, which kind of makes sense. So the debut record from Matt Johnson. For A, I've gone with lots of A's. Adam and the Ants. This is Dirk Wears White Socks. Again, you're going to know right away if you have the original pressing of this from 1979, I think. It has a different cover than this later 1983 Canadian pressing. I don't think it was released in Canada before 83. And it's a pretty solid record, I have to say. I do enjoy this. When I first became exposed to Adam and the Ants, or Adam Ant, either one, it was through the track Goody Two Shoes, which I kind of enjoy at some level, but this doesn't really sound like that. This is more of the, can we say post-punk? I don't really know what post-punk means, but it's a pretty good record, and I've only really gotten into it quite recently. Epic Labels, and there is a lyric sheet and this image here. So that is a nice record and something I'm happy to have. So next is N. We will go with 9 Inch Nails with the regular N and the reverse N. This is With Teeth from 2005. This is the, am I getting this right? This is the 2019 definitive edition. This was the re-release in 2019 on vinyl. And a gatefold with 2 records. I think the critical reviews of this weren't that strong, as with Adam and the Ants. I think critics didn't like that record either. Here we have the labels there. There's the same on both sides, and this comes with a booklet here called The Ultimate Resurrection, which goes over the, making this the definitive issue. I can't remember. I've read this. I can't remember exactly what they did, but they went through it all. That is cool. And then the second record is pretty much the same, except it comes with this fold out, which is very difficult to read at some points. 4 pages here, yes. Anyway, so that is Nine Inch Nails, which takes us to the letter U. And for the letter U, I chose a jam band, post-rock, or prog rock band from Indiana called Umphrey's McGee, which is not printed there. You may be able to see it there. The record is called Mantis. I can't even tell if that's focusing or not, but it's called Mantis from Umphrey's McGee. There are the tracks there. This is a very interesting record from 2009. I believe it's their 6th album. There is the... You can sort of see the label there. Heavyweight vinyl. It does come with a regular paper inner sleeve, but they also provided that plastic one, which is very nice of them. You know, I don't really know much about this band beyond this record. It's the only record from them that I have, and I think it's kind of interesting, but I don't listen to it that often. Maybe I should. Back to the letter A, and I have chosen Animal Collective. This is called Centipede HZ. I don't know if that's supposed to be Centipede Hertz or just Centipede HZ. I never knew what the actual pronunciation is supposed to be. I was just in the A section and I pulled this one off the shelf. In honesty, I probably prefer a previous record called Merriweather Post Pavilion, but this is fine. Again, the critics didn't love this record, and it probably took a long time for me to really enjoy it. There's 2 records in here. They look like that. Get this back in again. I won't take that out, but it's this very similar idea. That is Animal Collective. Now for R, I decided to choose this record by Stan Ridgway, or Stannard Ridgway, who was originally known as the singer in Wall of Voodoo, and I guess the songwriter too. I'm assuming. I didn't look up the credits, but Stan Ridgway. This came out in 1989. It's called Mosquitoes, which is his 2nd record. Probably best known for the track Going Southbound, which is a really cool song, I have to say. So, you know, his first few records, I've lost track of him after this, but he's known for writing these songs that often tell a story. You can get that sense right away from the Big Heat when you first hear that record. Lots of story songs. This is very similar. I would say this record has one advantage over the Big Heat, which I love. I love the Big Heat. The only advantage this record has is that camouflage is not on it. So that is good. There's a rather distressing photo of a mosquito, some lyrics, and Don Geffen. So that is cool. So that's his 2nd record. And then for Y, I went with a debut record from a guy that has a song I'm sure you all know. That is Young MC, 1989, Stone Cold, rhyming, and of course you all know the track, Bust a Move, I'm sure you do. This is more, I guess, it's rap, but I guess you'd call it pop rap. It's non-threatening in any way, it's pretty tame. The song's about school and women, like Principal's Office is on here. Anyway, I've always loved that track. It's kind of infectious, and I have never tired of it. I think it's really cool. And what's he doing now? I don't know. I think I saw him in a movie once. Island labels with the giant remainder punch out. And finally, the last thing we're asked to do is show a record that references somehow the number 6. So I chose this record from PJ Harvey called the Hope 6 Demolition Project from 2016. I believe this is her 9th record. This is a very interesting record. It actually talks about some project. There's an acronym. HOPE stands for something. I can't remember what, but Hope 6 project was to, I guess, demolish some public housing in various cities and rebuild them to make them better. And I guess in the process, there were some complaints about them being maybe not respectful of people who live there. I'm not 100% sure on that. But if you read or hear the song Community of Hope, that really addresses that issue. There's the inside. I don't know how that image references the... Well, I don't know. I have to think about that. Anyway, it comes with this rather large poster, which I may not be able to show you. This is the original pressing. I think it's been reissued since 2016. And look at that. Oh my God. There she is. Try not to ruin it. Then the record is here. I think some people criticized her for that, for her view on this sound, but I'm not really up to speed on that. There we go. That is done. So there's a kind of entry into a contest for Greg. Please go and check out his channel, and I will see you in the next video.